team was going through the Epstein files that had been released, and they found a memo saying that Epstein had proffered information, an FBI memo that Cohen had proffered into the government to have a sentence reduced or even get out of jail free card. This is called a Rule 35, where if you give the government enough dirt on someone else and it's valuable, you can get your sentence reduced for giving them the dirt. On the one hand, you have Epstein, excuse me for getting Cohen and Epstein mixed up, okay? It's like Iran and Iraq and George W. Bush, okay? Sorry about that. Cohen told Tara Palmieri on her show, as I mentioned, that Trump told him it was bullshit. But if it's all bullshit, why then did he proffer as very important information under Rule 35 in order to get his sentence reduced? So something's not right here. And I think these folks are looking at more notes from the Epstein files about Cohen. But yesterday I was listening to Lev, Wajid Ali, and Dean Blundell, and they were just excoriating Cohen. Parnas said, don't subscribe to him anymore. And one of the things about Epstein, when you listen to him, is between Epstein and Parnas, Epstein is reporting all the scuttlebutt that we hear on the news and the internet. But Parnas has really good inside sources still. Now, he was MAGA too, so he's suspect in my mind as well. So, I'm not taking sides here. I'm just enjoying this melodrama here among the independent media pundits and reporters. But Parnas does bring really good inside information. Cohen doesn't do that. He's really been cut off. But apparently Cohen is now claiming that Letitia James and the district attorney for New York at the time Letitia James is the attorney general for New York, were pressuring him to turn on Trump. It's as if he is trying to get into Trump's good graces again, maybe even get a pardon, and maybe even rejoin the MAGA crowd. Because why would you sacrifice all this mea culpa? I've admitted my faults, my misdeeds, and then go back to it unless you were just, conning people. And that's where they're at with Michael Cohen. Is he a big con? And I bring this up because I do listen to him, although I find him a little bit, he's very self-centered. He's like Trump that way. And don't forget, he worked with Trump. He was second to Trump. He was like the president of Trump's beauty pageants too. So, that's probably where, if there was some abuse going on, sexual abuse of girls, not women, young girls, it could have been in these beauty pageants. And Cohen was involved with those too. So what we have now is Parnas, Blundell, and Wajid Ali turning on Michael Cohen. Now, Michael is a regular on Midas Touch, and this puts Midas Touch in an interesting position. The leader of Midas Touch is Ben Meiselas, and I don't understand why all these other podcasts have a difficult time saying Meiselas, okay? I listen to some of the other podcasters, like I think Keith Edwards, for example. They never get the name right. Ben Meiselas. It's easy, okay? And Ben's out here in Los Angeles. He's an attorney, and he seems like a really upright fellow. Being an attorney puts a lot of pressure on you to behave correctly, okay? And I think he's a straight shooter from what I've seen and read. I also think he's a terrific reporter. He brings the receipts, and he scours the internet. He gets a lot of good reporting on his shows. I do listen to them. But now that he's got Michael Cohen in this position, what's he going to do? Because if Michael is not being forthcoming about his involvement with the Epstein files and with at least one of the Epstein victims, that's a tank. That's a rotten apple on the Midas Touch. Now, as a reporter, you deal with all sorts of people. I've dealt with child molesters, incest survivors, murderers. You deal with everyone because that's your job.